Hey, how's it going, everybody? BurntBrian here, and welcome back to another Tall Can Tuesday. In this video series, I like to give you updates on my life and the future of the channel, answer random questions and topics submitted by you, the fine viewers, and of course, drink some beer. Now, before I get started, I want to remind you, this video series is all about us interacting with each other. So, if you have any questions or topics you'd like to hear me talk about, leave them down below in the comments, and I'll be sure to get to them in the next video. Now, I know I said I probably wouldn't be doing a Tall Can Tuesday this week, but, I wanted to go ahead and do one last one because honestly, my funds for any sort of, alcohol and making these kinds of videos has run out completely. Until I get my new job, which will probably be a couple weeks, I'm going to take a little break from doing these videos. But I did want to pick up an old classic favorite cheap beer of mine, one that I can afford right now. It's been a while since I did a malt liquor in one of these Tall Can Tuesday videos, so this one is all for you malt liquor drinker fans out there. And I went with the classic Schlitz, the bowl here, and of course, nice solid glass bottle. One of the few glass bottles that we actually even still get here in the 32-ounce size, because again, in Florida, we do not get the 40s. And funny, I may have mentioned in previous videos, but Schlitz is the first 40 that I ever had. It was many, many, many years ago when I was actually underage, and somebody went and bought it for us while we were visiting up in, I believe, North Carolina. It may have been Georgia at the time, but I want to say this was North Carolina. No, it was North Carolina. Anyway, I do have a couple questions that I want to get to, and then just a couple brief topics to jump through. But before we get into any of that, let's go ahead and pop the top on this bad boy here. Again, it's been a while since I had one of these. Anyway, this one's for all of you. Cheers. So cold. Ice cold. I should have let it maybe sit out for a few minutes before I did this. Alright, anyway, the only questions I've got today, well, first I'll start with Flintquitch. Flintquitch said, I'll miss this series if you nix it, take a break, but come back to it. I'm not going to completely stop making these videos because, to be honest, these videos get more views than any of the other videos that I seem to put out, more than my hot sauce or beer reviews or food reviews or any of that stuff, and the interaction is a whole lot more. I mean, and plus the watch time is there. People really do spend, even though I've been making 30-minute videos, people are still watching most of that, and I really do appreciate the ones that do stick through the entire video series. I would like to make them shorter, but it's just the way it is. Sometimes I just get rambling on and get into a conversation or a topic, and maybe I should work on that. If you think I should try to shorten these up a little bit more, let me know down below in the comments. I have thought about trying to do a few things to make this series a little bit shorter and a little simpler. And also, with this series, I will be, instead of filming on Monday or Tuesday, I'm probably going to film on Saturday or Sunday. That way I have time to kind of just relax, edit it, do a little bit more as far as the editing goes. And, I might miss one or two topics on Sunday and Monday, but usually those are kind of slow days for news and for everything in general. So I think I'll be all right if I do that. Anyway, Flintquitch says, what did you think of the new Thor trailer for, obviously, the Ragnarok movie? And I did briefly mention this in a previous Tall Can Tuesday, but I thought it was really awesome, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it. I think this honestly looks like one of the better Thor movies. It looks like it's got a lot of humor in it, and then you have Hela, which is supposed to be the goddess of death, and she's obviously the one who in the trailer catches his hammer and destroys it. And so I'm not entirely sure if she's supposed to be the main villain in the movie, or, is Loki going to be the one, or is Loki going to still, because they briefly show him. I don't know if he's supposed to come to his brother's aid and help him in some way, or if he is involved in what's going on and where Thor is being held captive, but it is really interesting. They show this awesome fight scene where obviously Thor is picked up by some random straggler who is brought in, and he's set up to be a challenger or a competitor in an arena, kind of like a gladiator style, old Roman style thing. And I guess his opponent that comes through the door ends up being Thor, and the reaction from him is totally not what the audience is expecting when he goes, yes! And everybody stops and they're like, what the hell is this guy happy about? He's like, no, we know each other, we used to work together. And obviously, the Hulk, he's an angry, violent person. So I'm really curious to watch that movie. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be funny, action-packed, all that good stuff. So definitely looking forward to seeing that one. See, Flintquitch also asks, what are the best YouTube channels you've only started watching in the past 6 months or so? Well, I do try to explore a lot of new channels. I haven't really been as devoted to it as I should be or as I have been in the past. But I will say that there are several channels that I've been looking at, you know, like one in particular. Well, I'll go through my list real quick. We've got Cringecore. Cringecore is, I mean, it's cringy videos. It's the most cringiest videos on the internet. So there are a lot of cringeworthy videos out there, and it's not meant to, I don't think the videos, like they say in the intro, it's not meant to really make fun of people, but I mean, it's satire in a sense, and you know, there are a lot of people that put stuff out on the internet that really shouldn't put what they put out there. So definitely check that one out if you like cringy stuff. You'll definitely be going, oh my gosh, by the end of the video. Another one that's similar to that is Best of the Internet. Now they do a whole lot of random stuff from, you know, like I've been watching a lot of angry customer videos or public freak out videos, basically, where people are just super angry and freaking out, yelling at people. You've got like customers of Walmart. You've got all these like random videos of people out in public doing stupid things, getting angry, road rage compilations. Some of those I shouldn't watch because it gets my blood boiling, and you know, I put myself in that situation and think, God, you know, the people on the receiving end of some of these rants and tirades have way more patience than I do, because I would just beat the shit out of somebody if they start freaking out like that, yelling at me, threatening me. I'm not going to just calmly hold my camera and film. I'm going to incite violence more than likely. So that's just, again, another one that's in that same kind of mixed video collection. As far as food stuff goes, I've been watching Fast Food Pit Stop. He's a really nice guy, seems like pretty genuine dude, and I tend to like his personality a little bit better than some of the other fast food reviewers, like the big giant ones that are out there. I'm not going to mention any names, but I've been enjoying him, as well as channels like The Endorsement. Those are both, you know, really cool, down-to-earth people, and I like their editing style. I like the way that they do their videos as far as the food stuff goes. Another one that I'm not sure if it's been 6 months, it may be much longer than that. I want to say it is, but there's a channel called Writing with Dave. He was the kind of mastermind behind the channel called Bob Eats, which, you know, Bob would do all kinds of crazy channels, and they had Beer Time with Bob, where a lot of their fans would submit questions and random things, and, you know, Bob would get completely shit-faced drunk while answering all of these off-the-wall, absurd questions, and it was a whole lot of fun. Not sure exactly what happened. I know there was something between them, but Dave has gone on his own way, and he's, you know, really, he's a big motorcycle guy. I mean, he was riding, I want to say, I don't know if it was Super Sport, but was riding a, you know, really fast motorcycle for a while. Now he's riding around on a Grom, which is a whole lot of fun. He can do some off-road videos, as well as, you know, just in general, his personality is a lot of fun to watch. I really enjoy his witty banter. I'm not at all, you know, a big car or or motorcycle guy, but I love watching Dave and just listening to him and the random shit he talks about. Yeah, so those are just a couple. I do have a few other channels that I'll talk about later in another video, but thanks for your questions, man. So then I also have just one topic suggestion from Vacayville Phone King. He said, talk about the Cash Me Outside girl and the fame these morons are getting. And again, this is another topic that I have mentioned in a previous Tall Can Tuesday video, but you know, I'm always happy to talk about that particular one. And when you look at society in general, this is part of the problem that I see with the, you know, with our society as it stands. I mean, we give too much praise and credit to stupid people that do the most moronic shit. It's, you know, it's kind of like how I feel I related to YouTube videos. Like, look at her situation and how she's an absolute fucking moron, and yet she's been in music videos, and apparently she makes a ridiculous amount of money for just doing appearances. Like, people actually pay her to show up at events. I don't fucking know why. She's an uneducated, stupid young girl, but for some reason, you know, people want her to come to events, and maybe that's why, so everyone can laugh at her. But you know, look at like how we give so much attention to her, and yet when you look at, there was a story about like a 13-year-old boy, or, you know, just a young kid, 13-year-old kid, who I think he was like working on his second degree or something, or already working on his second bachelor's degree or something like that in college. Kid's a super genius, incredibly smart, has virtually no followers, and nobody pays any attention to him really. And you think, wow, why aren't we giving people like that attention? Why aren't they being highlighted and looked at? I think it's just because mostly people are jealous, and we're slipping into that idiocracy phase where everyone would just rather laugh at someone like the Cash Me Outside girl rather than, actually acknowledge good work. And like I say, I relate it to my channel when you see a lot of people doing really stupid stunts, like stupid things. And I don't think the content on my channel is all that great or anything, but still, we sort of praise and put people on a pedestal that do ridiculous things that may make us laugh a little bit, but come on, it's just stupid shit. And then the people who really are working hard and trying to make good quality content or trying to make good stuff don't get any attention or any following or any, credit for their work at all. And it's kind of sad that that's the way that our society has been, geared towards lately. And hopefully something will change and that'll go back to being something, I don't know, man, something different than what it is. Because right now society is definitely depressing me a lot, and I'm, constantly shaking my head at the world around me. But anyway, thanks for your topic, man. I appreciate it. I do have a couple other random topics that I found that I'd like to go over with you guys. Before I do that, let me take another swig out of this thing here. Cheers. So I guess I'll start with YouTube news, just to briefly touch up on the WW2 to give you a quick update on that. Apparently, they've gone through and completely either removed or set every video that they have to private and unmonetized everything. And they just recently put out an apology video, which, I don't know, man, it seemed kind of fake to me. I don't know what to believe. Maybe they really are having a change of heart, but I don't see how you can so quickly within the matter of a few days go from these people are haters, they're just haters looking in on the outside who don't know what's going on in our lives and in this situation, and that our kids are completely fine and that they're not suffering from any kind of abuse whatsoever. You guys just it's all just pranks, bro. How they quickly went from that to all of a sudden they're so very, very sorry for what they've put their children through. And, you had the father, WW2, wearing his, some sort of like it's like the best way I can remember is if you looked at the DVD cover or we wouldn't say VHS, but the DVD box for that movie, the Will Ferrell one, Step Brothers, when they're sitting there all smiling and they're wearing their little sweater with the cut-off sleeves and the long-sleeve shirt. That's what he was wearing with his glasses on, and he really didn't say a whole lot in the video. It was mostly his wife who was trying to act very sad and broken up about everything and what they put their kids through. And they said they're seeing family therapists right now, and I really hope that they are, because they honestly need a lot of help. And maybe they'll get what they need and they can start taking care of the children in a better way. And it is nice to see that they completely, put every video on private. And I wonder, how long that's going to last, if they're going to, when are they going to go back to exploiting their children to make money? Because that's what it was to me. It was exploiting and abusing their children to make money. And it's funny that, thankfully somebody went along and downloaded every single one of their videos before they could put it into private, so that they are still around and still available. Some say that it could be they did it to hide evidence of the abuse that they gave some of the kids, but I don't know. I just know the videos that I watched, aside from the narrative of Philip DeFranco and some of the other ones, Boogie, some of the guys that talked about this, I actually went through and watched a lot of those videos, and it's just like, man, what a fucked up family dynamic that is. I couldn't imagine growing up in today's generation where, your father feels the need to blog your entire life, and then he uses you to get views by, punching the kid in the arm and throwing him against a bookcase and making one kid slap the other kid. It's a really crazy family dynamic, and I don't entirely understand it. So anyway, I went on a little too long with that, but that's the update. They've kind of stepped away and aren't doing videos right now, thankfully. Let's see, what else do we want to jump in? I guess in technology news, we could talk about high-tech. There's this high-tech juicer that they recently put out, and Bloomberg did a great job of breaking it all down and showing how this is an ultimate $400 piece of shit. And it's basically, it's a juicer that is used to, they would create these bags of juice that's single serve sort of. It's kind of like a Keurig in a sense, but for juicing instead of coffee. And basically, you know, you would put this bag in there and the machine is supposed to squeeze the bag so that all the juice comes out of the bag into a cup. And the juice bags were ridiculously expensive. And you know, $400 for this juicer. It had Wi-Fi capabilities and all that. But Bloomberg came along and showed that just a regular woman, a regular average female, could come along and just as easily squeeze all the juice out of this pouch with her bare hands. So why pay $400 for a juicer? And if you're going to be juicing, why are you going to buy fucking juice out of a pouch that's going to have to be obviously full of preservatives or something? You can't just store the juice and expect it to be good for a really, really long time. You know, I have a $400 juicer, but mine's an Omega. It's one of the top of the line juicers. It's a slow masticating juicer that's like this auger bit that slowly grinds and crushes everything, all the fruits and veggies down to this fine, fine pulp. And what you get out is a fibrous pulp that you can use for cooking in other ways. And then this beautiful juice that's just amazing. I mean, it's so healthy and so good for you. And I need to start using that thing more often. I've had it for a few years now, and I've really slacked off from making fresh juices, and that really sucks. I need to get back to it. But I mean, you know, technology is amazing, and then the trendy, stupid, lazy people that would buy that with the bags of juice rather than just buying the juice or going to your local farmers market, supporting local farmers and buying fresh produce from the local market and making it yourself. I mean, you can't get lazy and cheapen that down. It's sorry. I mean, any of those little pre-made juices that you buy at the store, none of those are good. None of them are healthy. They're loaded with sugars, loaded with all kinds of preservatives, just crap that's not good. So, I don't know, man. The best way to go is just all natural and get yourself a really good juicer. Anyway, a couple more topics. Time for another swig. I do want to chug this beer down fast, but at the same time, I do have several topics to go through, so I want to make sure I leave enough to get through the topics that I've got left. I want to talk about briefly Aaron Hernandez. We get into some sports news here a little bit. You know, it was all last week and the week before. We've been dealing with all kinds of news from Aaron. And if you don't know, Aaron was the one who killed, I can't remember his name. Was it Liam Odin? I can't remember his first name, but I know it was Odin. And basically, this was many, many years ago, and he was found guilty and convicted of murder in that case, and he was serving a life sentence. And then recently, he was on trial for, you know, a suspected murder, a double homicide, which he was acquitted of those charges. And, you know, really interesting is right after he wins this acquittal in court, he's in his cell, and apparently during the night between the time that they put them in bed, which was like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and 3:30, 4 o'clock before a guard walked by and checked his cell, he had committed suicide. You know, there was a lot of conspiracy theories going around. Well, why would he commit suicide right after he just got this acquittal? And, you know, so many different stories surrounding this. But the more news that just recently came out this weekend does point to a suicide. And as far as the coroner goes, the medical examiner, they're saying that there was no foul play. They don't suspect anyone else being involved. He did die from asphyxiation, from choking from his bed sheets hung from the windowsill. And interestingly, they found 3 notes, supposedly 3 suicide notes in his cell. One was for his daughter, his young daughter, who supposedly stands to make a whole lot of money because of his previous court case. He was still going through the appeals process on his first-degree murder charge, and the Patriots had let him go because of his arrest, and that, and they had taken away all the 15 million or whatever the contract was, and I guess the way that the New England laws are, if you're still going through the appeals process, any deal that you had prior to is still active. If you die before you use your last appeal, then technically your contract is still good, which would mean that his daughter has a chance to inherit all of that money that was left over in his contract. But anyway, he had left her a suicide note. There was a note for his fiance, and then curiously, there was supposedly another note for his high school lover who happened to be a man, which would mean that Aaron was apparently either bisexual or he was closeted gay, one or the other. And so this is leading authorities to question whether or not, what the motives were for him killing Odin in the first place. And they're kind of starting to wonder if perhaps Odin had information and knew about his, love affair, because he was dating or was married to, I can't remember, married or dating Aaron's wife or fiance's sister. I think I'm saying that right. If I'm not, please let me know. I probably may be wrong. But so some were speculating that perhaps he killed Odin. The motive was that he knew about this secret lover of his, this high school man lover of his, and that's why he killed Odin. So I don't know what the story is. That could be the case. But we'll have to see as more facts develop and they come out. It is interesting. I guess they found out that when he first went into jail, he did set up or transfer money into 3 different bank accounts. One that was set up just for his daughter, one that was just set up for his fiance, and one for this man boyfriend of his. So it's really curious and just another interesting twist in the Aaron Hernandez case. I thought that was really funny and just something fascinating, and it was kind of strange to me. Anyway, one other thing I want to talk about briefly as far as game news goes, you have Call of Duty World War II that just was announced. And, I do like the way, I'm not a big fan of Activision versus Treyarch, because those are the two companies that have been making Call of Duty for a really long time. They used to be together, and then the companies split, and then that's why every year, or you'll usually, or every 2 years at least, you get 2 different Call of Duty games, one from Treyarch and one from Activision. I think that this is an Activision game, though I'm not entirely sure. All I know is the Call of Duty series has been really good up until the last one. Like, I wasn't a big fan of Black Ops 3, didn't really like Advanced Warfare, and I'm not too sure. I didn't play the newest one that they just released, Infinite Warfare, so I really have no judgment or comparison on that one. But in all the previous games I really did like, and they used to do, like, World at War was a great game that was kind of more Vietnam era. So, and they've also had a World War I. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with a World War II themed kind of game. And last topic I have 2 more topics, but as far as entertainment news goes, I just wanted to briefly talk about Logan, which was the movie about Wolverine. I know I'm behind, and this is, spoiler alert right now, so, if you haven't seen the movie, you may not want to watch this part, but it's one of the greatest movies I've seen in a while. Wolverine is my favorite, has always been since I was a little kid, my favorite Marvel character. I mean, just that hardcore, rough-edged, don't take shit from anybody kind of attitude. And, what I loved about this movie was it was so different than what I was expecting, but I understand the direction they were going. They were taking this to a futuristic time when, the X-Men had pretty much all had been killed out. All mutants had been killed. Wolverine has a regenerative ability. His body will constantly regenerate and keep him alive for a very, very long time. And of course, Charles Xavier was a incredible man with his mind and the ability to control people. And I imagine it helped keep him alive for quite a long time. So it was really interesting to see that all the mutants had died, and then here he is, trying to take care of Xavier as an old, beaten down Wolverine that's just kind of lost his power, and the adamantium in his body seeps out poison. I mean, that's part of the regenerative abilities that he has, is the adamantium itself, the metal that's in his bones, covering his bones and that create the claws, has it's a poison in a sense. I mean, it's slowly, poisoning the body, and I guess at some point as he got older, it's kind of hard for his body to keep regenerating, keep going. And it was just so amazing to see the way they brought in his daughter into this thing, and how she was created through the labs doing DNA, and and then they created a Wolverine clone, a younger version that was just all rage, and seeing the fight scenes, unbelievable. I mean, like I say, Deadpool paved the way for this kind of bloody, gory, awesome Marvel story, and I just think they did such a great job. It's one of the first, well, one of the only comic movies where at the end, and maybe it's, because of certain lifestyle changes I've been making recently, but I was sitting there bawling my eyes out like a little girl at the very end of the movie, when Wolverine dies and she, puts the X, the cross, turns it over for the X over him, and, when he's talking to her as he's dying and telling her, that so this is what it feels like, to feel love, to be, happy, and it's just like, holy shit. And the way he came back after he took that serum, whatever that juice was, and, shot at him and just went on this killing spree to save the children that were, genetically engineered to be mutants. Such an amazing movie. Really, really enjoyed it. I'll probably be watching that one again. As soon as it comes out on Blu-ray, I'm going to be buying it. I hope they do a Blu-ray 3D, but I doubt they did. But anyway, that one's going to be really awesome. Anyway, I got one more topic to jump to. Another long video today. Let me go ahead and take another big swig out of this. Cheers. This probably should have been one of my first topics, but because I really did want to cover this one because I find it so fascinating, but at the same time, I figured maybe I'd bury it towards the end because it is kind of a controversial thing and it may offend certain people out there. But I got to talk about language and the way things are changing, and we've all heard it, or if you haven't heard, there are some terms that mainly third wave feminism, third wave feminists have been using a lot lately, and it's called mansplaining, right? And so that's the act where, and this is actually in the dictionary. Mansplain is actually in the dictionary, and basically that has to do with when a man according to the dictionary, it's when a man talks to a woman about topics that he's not entirely well versed in and tries to explain to her, what she doesn't understand about a topic because he's a man and she's a female. I really think that that's a fucking stupid ass word. I've never known anybody to mansplain to anyone before. Maybe that's just, because I'm going on anecdotal evidence here in my own personal life experiences. I know that men explain things to women all the time, and women explain things to men all the time, both of which oftentimes have, no real great technical experience in what they're talking about, but they're just trying to explain to the best of their knowledge of what they understand of a specific topic. Well, it goes on much farther than just mansplaining. We've gone on to what they call manspreading. And, that's the act where in a subway, a man will sit there or in certain public places and they spread their legs while they're sitting there relaxing, and sometimes may take up 2 seats or cover a couple spots where other people could potentially sit. And ladies complain about this and go, look at him, he's mansplaining. Most of these, granted, I want to point out, these are mostly from BuzzFeed. If you don't know, BuzzFeed is an absolute shit rag of a news organization. They have such a left-leaning slant on every single thing that they put out, and it's just so absurd, some of the things that they talk about, such as these topics here. And one thing about manspreading that's so interesting that people don't want to talk about, well, of course, women can very easily sit with their legs close together unless they're fatter or heavier like me, got a bit of a gut. It's easy for them to keep their legs shut. They don't have organs that hang down between their legs. Men, we've got a ball sack or testicles and a penis that hang down in between our legs that are very, very sensitive. If you don't think they're sensitive, sometimes the wind blowing the wrong way, if you were naked, could cause your testicles to hurt. All it takes is the tiniest little flick, and you're going to be on the ground holding yourself and rolling around in pain that hurts your intestines and your stomach. So I understand in some situations there are guys that probably, way overdo their spreading out and relaxing, but at the same time, yes, we have very sensitive organs that sit right here, and we can't keep our legs completely closed, and especially if you're wearing jeans, tight jeans, or even business suits like khaki pants, things like that. It's hard to sit with your junk sitting all tight like that. So that's one thing, but apparently now there was actually a commercial for something called Manterrupting. And I shit you not, apparently this is where men interrupt women in conversations. And so it's called a manterruption because the man came along and interrupted a woman. And I'm sorry, but that's just called fucking interrupting. It's rude people that are just interrupting you. There are plenty of in this video, in this particular commercial, they showcase several video clips where a man interrupts a woman, whether she's like a female journalist or, usually in that stance, in that situation. It's usually a female journalist that's interrupted by a man. But I'm sorry, but there are many examples of women interrupting men in the same kind of scenario, in the same situation. It's just called interrupting. All it is rude people interrupting. We need to stop. Like, this whole third wave feminism is a bunch of bullshit. And, feminism used to be a good thing. It used to preach good stuff. Now it's just really pissing off every man like me who used to go, yeah, feminism used to be a good thing. Now it's a fucking monstrosity when you're creating words like mansplain and manterruption and man-spreading and all of this stupid shit. You sound so stupid. Please, for the love of God, with your idiotic new words that you're trying to create and put out. And I don't know why the dictionary would even consider, I can't even fathom why they would consider putting this kind of stuff in the dictionary as actual words. But, that's our prerogative. This is the society that we live in today. Again, yet another reason why I shake my head at the world around me most days. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. I know this one ran on for a long time like most of the other videos, but I appreciate you for tuning in and watching all the way through. I got a little bit left in here, so let me go ahead and kill this, what's left in this bottle here. Thank you for watching, everybody. Cheers. Some would say in the craft or the malt liquor drinking community, the MLDC, I did not dwarf the foam. There is no foam left in this at all. Anyway, again, I really appreciate all your support. Thanks so much for watching. I do all kinds of stuff on this channel, so if you want to make sure you don't miss out on any new content that I put out, subscribe for one thing, and then if you look right next to the subscribe button, there's a little bell icon. If you click on that, you'll get an email notification every time I put out a new video, and I try to put out at least 3 to 4 a week. And I know that, again, I'll be taking a break from the Tall Can Tuesdays, but I will still have Thirsty Thursday beer reviews. I've got hot sauce reviews, food reviews, maybe occasional blog. I don't know. But I do appreciate all your support. If you're new to my channel, you can click right here to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. And again, if you want to check out some of the other various topics that I cover on this channel, or the various, everything within the culinary world, if you will, be sure and check out a couple links that I'll throw over here. And again, I really appreciate all your support. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay toasty, my friends.